This is the goal of this is to hold me more accountable and to get me to read more. I feel that as if I stream. I feel as if though is that if I stream it, it'll hold me more accountable to finish some of the books that I really want to read. I have about 30 of them on my shelf. Since doing this, I finished one, read an entire other one, and I'm on the third one. These chapters are a little longer. I got halfway through chapter 1 last time. Right now, this is What You Should Know About Politics But Don't, 4th edition, dated in around 2019. There was a 5th edition that I just didn't pick up in time. I got this like 2 years ago, I think. Currently, the chapter we're on is about elections, and this one, it summarized how important elections are, and they gave the story about the Bush versus Gore, right? George Bush versus Al Gore presidential election, where they had a 270 electoral split, and they did a recount in Florida. But I believe that a foundation or the Supreme Court ruled, I think, in someone's favor, and a recount was stopped, declaring Bush the winner. And then an independent company did a hand count and found that Gore would have won that state if it was counted instead of being stopped. So that was interesting to read about. Hoping to finish it. There's about 20 more pages of this one. Last time I got through the preface, acknowledgments, and then the preface of affiliations in the parties, going over like Republican, Democrat, Progressive, Libertarian, etc. And then got to page 14. That's what we're picking up off on. And I have an ambience playing in the background. A little bit helps me stay a little more focused. Doesn't feel as awkward. Feels more authentic. It's raining outside and there's oldies playing in the background from the other room. So that is what you hear. Right. Oh, and it was talking about gerrymandering. There are many organizations that advocate for either a different kind of voting or a different kind of districting that would be more democratic and fair. One group, Range Voting, designed a totally objective system that draws districts using a mathematical formula, the state's physical boundaries, and the population. Another idea is often proposed is ranked voting, in which everyone ranks candidates first, second, third, etc. Candidates below the top 2 are then eliminated, and their votes are redistributed based on the second and third choices. This allows for more moderate and broadly popular winners to emerge because many voters would get their second, if not first, choice. For example, in 2000, nearly all of Ralph Nader's supporters would have picked Gore as their second choice. A ranked voting system would have given those Nader votes to Gore, allowing him a clear victory. In 1992, a ranked voting system might have helped George H.W. Bush defeat Bill Clinton, which it was estimated that the majority of independent candidates, Ross Perot's voters, would have picked Bush as their second choice. There is less popular support for voting reform than one might expect, probably because most of us don't know what politicians design districts probably because most of us don't know that politicians design districts so that some of our votes just don't count, and because issues of process, like elections, tend to draw less attention than issues of outcome, like taxes. And since it would take politicians to change the law, it's unlikely to happen because they are the ones who benefit. I didn't know politicians set gerrymandering. That's interesting. I did just read something about Dan Crenshaw. It's the craziest shit you've ever seen. Hold on, I gotta show you. That makes sense if he sets it up. Okay, I was wondering why they were attributing it to him. I was like, do they really set it? That can't be like that. I gotta find it. It was so crazy. It wasn't. Hold on. Wait. Oh shit. Wait. Hold on. Where was it? I know I saw it, dude. Hold on. I gotta show you. It's just that crazy. I'm gonna spend my reading time right now to find this. It was absolutely insane. Okay, it was. I thought it was Dan Crenshaw, but it says no. I'm not gonna name any parties, but a certain party had to Frankenstein stitch a district together so that they can get this guy to win. This is considered one district. You see that stitch in the middle? That's gerrymandering. They stitched it like that so that he could win that. That's insane. That's crazy. Holy shit. That's so crazy. Wow. Hold on, sorry, I'm sending that. Okay, back to it. Yeah, no, gerrymandering's crazy. And that's even more insane that you're able to... The politicians said it? I mean, who else would said it though, right? It had to be a politician that affects politics. Right? Because you could try and say, oh, well, the mayor of those districts or the governor should decide, like, politics. That's politics. So it's always going to be a politician no matter what. Because I think politician's a broad description. Sometimes, though, fights over redistricting make front-page news. In 2001, the Texas state legislature was controlled by Democrats, who could not reach an agreement with the state Republicans on redistricting after the 2000 consensus. Republican minority asked an independent panel of judges to arbitrate, but the resulting map still favored Democrats. When the Republicans won a majority in the state legislature in 2002, redistricting became their top priority. Republican Representative Tom DeLay, who was then House Majority Leader and the head of Texas's Republican delegation in Congress, was closely involved in the effort. The plan was criticized in part because it occurred mid-consensus. Redistrictings normally take place only after the census. Unwilling to vote on the Republicans' redistricting bill in 2003, Democratic state legislators fled Texas so that there would be too few representatives to form a quorum. A quorum is the minimum number of lawmakers required for a vote. In 2006, the plan reached the Supreme Court, which rejected one district because it found that it was drawn on racial lines in order to dilute or even discount minority votes. Other districts split along racial lines were also allowed because the court decided that the purpose of that districting was political rather than racial, and therefore legal. Some legal activists have argued that under the Bush v. Gore ruling, political gerrymandering violates the Equal Protection Clause by making some voters' ballots effectively count less than others. But the Supreme Court has repeatedly held that political gerrymandering is constitutional, at least so far. How we cast our votes is essential to free and fair elections, but it varies quite a bit from the state to state and even from county to county. Though controversial during the 2000 presidential election, punch card ballots have the advantage of leaving a paper trail. Yet, as with any physical means of voting, they can be destroyed or hidden by someone determined to commit voter fraud. Punch cards have other problems. There's no way to correct the mistake, and if the CHAD doesn't detach completely, the vote might not be counted. Optical scanning systems work just like standardized tests. Voters pencil in a bubble or complete an arrow, and the ballot is read by machines that quickly and reliably tally the results. They leave a paper trail, but can be altered by anyone with a pencil and, like punch cards, are easily destroyed. Direct recording machines, commonly called lever machines, use wheel-driven mechanisms to record votes internally. There is no check on these systems, and they leave no paper trail, so they rely entirely on accurate recording and reporting by election staff. New direct recording electronic voting machines, called DREs, drew a lot of press after concerned scientists raised questions about their security. DREs, also known as touchscreen machines, work a lot like ATMs, minus the cash. They are easy to use, may be programmed in multiple languages, and can ask voters for confirmation before finalizing their votes. They can leave a paper trail by producing a receipt, which could then be manually audited if necessary, although most DREs currently aren't built and or programmed to do so. Some studies suggest that DREs increase the likelihood that minorities' votes are recorded. Though criticizing DREs was originally a pet cause of politically active technophiles, concerns have increased and reached many in government. Servers crash, software freezes, printers jam, and there's no often sure way to check that backup systems, which can produce a copy of the votes, are working. In late 2007, Ohio's Secretary of State required one county to return to paper ballots before the state's 2008 presidential primaries after a series of server crashes disrupted a previous election. Worried about their potentially problematic effects, Senate Democrats Bill Nelson of Florida and Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island proposed a bill to ban the machines outright. A test case scenario may already have been played out in a political hotbed that is Florida. In 2006, Democrat Christine Jennings lost a congressional race by 369 votes. Or did she? According to the DREs that recorded the votes, 18,000 people, or 13% of those who voted in other elections but not in Miss Jennings' congressional race. Considering that the normal rate for this, called undervoting, is 3%, there was rampant speculation that the machines had screwed up the vote. Indeed, Jennings' staff received numerous complaints from voters that the voting machines they used did not work. Those complaints have been echoed in other races nationwide. Though disputed votes represent a small portion of the total votes cast, when machines do malfunction, they can throw an entire race. One potential problem with DREs is that they run on proprietary or private software, leaving no way for election officials, oversight committees, or courts to check the vote count. A panel from Johns Hopkins University found several security flaws in machines made by Diebold, the largest manufacturer of DREs. Votes were recorded on a removable smart card, raising worries that someone could replace the smart card with one that contained a virus to miscount votes. DREs could also be vulnerable to hacking while transmitting votes. Someone could intercept the signal the machine sends to tally the vote at a central server. Diebold has provoked controversy. In 2004, the chairman of the company circulated a fundraising letter to which he wrote he was committed to helping Ohio deliver its electoral votes to the president. Ohio ultimately gave President Bush his margin of victory over John Kerry. Some have questioned what they believe were voting irregularities in the state. It's possible that advances in DRE technology will right some problems. To allow officials to check or recount votes, DREs could run an open source code like Linux, accessible to all, or DRE manufacturers could allow election officials to access their software. By early 2008, Diebold was considering running new machines on open platforms. More DREs could employ a voter-verified paper trail, printing a ballot in a secure chamber that the voter would have to approve. Those that do this still have problems, though. Printers are notoriously unreliable. Allowing voters to keep a copy of their ballot would create another check, but currently machines don't provide voters with a receipt. However, there are reputable groups that oppose such changes, including the League of Women Voters. They argue that DREs are just as functional as other methods, all of which are susceptible to some malfunction, and that DREs are generally reliable, cost-effective, and less prone to fraud than paper-based systems. They are vastly outnumbered, though, by those who oppose DREs altogether. Campaign finance is another murky area that is increasingly in the political spotlight. Nowadays, candidates need a lot of money, millions of dollars for even statewide race, to run a viable campaign. TV airtime for commercials is the most expensive item. Pollsters and consultants cost a pretty penny, too. Politicians of both parties are frequently accused of taking donations from certain industries, corporations, or other special interests, and then supporting positions accordingly in what is sometimes called a quid pro quo arrangement. While political scientists stress that candidates generally receive money from interests with which they are already aligned, most of us believe that when people make large donations that they at least tactically expect something in return. If nothing else, political donations often provide access to office holders. Campaign finance reform has a long history. In 1907, the first major federal reform, the Tillman Act, attempted, though largely failed, to prohibit corporations from making political donations. Senate and House campaigns were subjected to spending limits and disclosure requirements soon thereafter, and in 1925, the fabulously named Federal Corrupt Practices Act, hey, what up, fart? Set donation limits. In 1971, the Federal Election Campaign Act, FECA, was passed, which obliged campaigns to disclose donations and how they are spent. In 1974, the Federal Election Commission, FEC, was established, along with new donation and spending caps. The FEC was basically designed to be ineffective, headed by 6 commissioners, 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans. The result is usually gridlock. Spending caps were overturned by the Supreme Court in 1976. The court equated a political campaign's money with speech, ruling that any restriction on a candidate's spending was a violation of First Amendment rights. Conservatives hailed the decision as a victory for free speech, while many progressive legal scholars believed it was one of the court's worst mistakes. As it is, no spending caps are allowed, though donation limits to the campaign themselves remain. In 2002, Congress passed the McCain-Feingold Act, named for its sponsors Republican Senator John McCain of Arizona and Democratic Senator Russ Feingold of Wisconsin, to clean up soft money contributions. Before 2002, the amount of soft money or donations to organizations such as Democratic or Republican National Committees, DNC or RNC for short, was unlimited. Hard money or direct contributions to candidates was capped. Therefore, a rich individual or organization could donate, say, $3 million to the DNC, which the DNC could then give to a specific campaign, thus bypassing hard money limits to individual candidates. I've heard that one before. McCain-Feingold placed caps on soft money and doubled limits on hard money. Soft money is harder to trace back to its sources. For the 2008 cycle, an individual or political action committee could give a candidate up to $2,300 for the general election and another $2,300 for the primary season, and this amount would rise over time. Before McCain-Feingold, the limit was $1,000. Political action committees, or PACs, are funded by corporations, organizations, and individuals. Regulated by the FEC, PACs can contribute money to campaigns and engage in issue advocacy. A PAC's spending is limited as its ability to use... Oh wait, are they going to talk about super PACs? I want to learn about those. I don't know what a super PAC is, or what the difference is. A PAC's spending is limited as its ability to use advertising. PACs cannot run ads that directly support or attack a candidate within 60 days of a general election or 30 days of a nominating convention. Almost every large organization or corporation has at least one PAC, including the Sierra Club, Trial Lawyers Association, League of Conservative Voters, GoPAC, Republican Leadership PAC, and Walmart. Many state parties and individual politicians also run PACs. McCain-Feingold's restriction on soft money has made other avenues for fundraising more popular. Issue advocacy groups, often called 527s, after a section of the tax code, technically cannot advocate for the election or defeat any specific political candidate, but may engage in political activity. They are tax exempt and not regulated by the FEC. However, 527s have proven controversial. Both the Swift Boat Veterans for Truth, which Democrats accused of coordinating with the Bush campaign to smear presidential candidate John Kerry in 2004, and America Coming Together, or ACT, which Republicans accused of vilifying President George W. Bush in 2004, are 527s. Such coordination is prohibited. 527s are supposed to be independent groups that care about certain issues, rather than groups affiliated with the campaign that were created to circumvent the FEC and its donation limits. ACT ultimately paid a multi-million-dollar settlement to the FEC to avoid going to court, and Swift Boat veterans were fined, but only a fraction of that amount. Most people in Washington will tell you that McCain-Feingold didn't really clean up campaign financing. If you really want to cheat the system, they argue, you'll find a way to do it. McCain-Feingold also put more emphasis on certain kinds of financing. Since single donors can give less money to parties and hard money limits were increased, McCain-Feingold made bundlers, fundraisers who can get a bunch of other people to donate, more important. A good example is George W. Bush's pioneers, individuals who raised $100,000 or more during the 2000 presidential election. The McCain-Feingold responded to a perception that money had gotten dirtier in D.C., one shared by some leftist progressives and conservatives. Al Gore got in trouble for making donor calls from his office in the old executive office building during his first vice presidential term. His 1996 fundraiser at a Buddhist temple proved an unholy mess when it was revealed that monks and nuns had illegally served as conduits for other people's contributions. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton raised moderate eyebrows and conservative ire for inviting big donors to stay in the White House's Lincoln bedroom. But just 3 years after McCain-Feingold, the biggest money scandal in decades rocked D.C. from K Street to the Capitol. In 2005, Republican Tom DeLay had to step down as House Majority Leader when he was indicted on allegations of campaign finance misconduct centering the 2002 race. Bush pioneer Jack Abramoff was found guilty on charges of fraud, tax evasion, and corruption in 2006. Abramoff defrauded several Native American tribes that hired him to help with casino proposals. The corruption charges focused on favors Abramoff dealt to politicians and their families and staff. Handouts included meals in a restaurant he owned, free sports and concert tickets, and swanky Scottish golf trips, one of which was for Tom DeLay. In 2008, major Democratic fundraiser Tony Rezko was convicted of fraud and bribery for demanding kickbacks from businesses in return for help from various state boards who were partly staffed by business associates of his that he had gotten appointed through his political connections. The investigation of Rezko led to even more high-profile conviction of the governor of Illinois, Democrat Ron Blagojevich. I kid you not. Blagojevich. Blagojevic. Ron Blagojevic. In 2009. Among other things, oh God, how many times are you going to make me say this name? Looks like maybe one or two more times. Among other things, Blagojevic tried to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat after Obama vacated it for the presidency. Reformers declared McCain-Feingold a mixed blessing. On the upside, because the law limited soft money, the major parties increased emphasis on individual hard money contributions. With the rise of online fundraising, this has led to an explosion of small dollar donations, and that it's important for upstart non-establishment candidates. The 2004 campaign featured the completely unexpected rise of former governor of Vermont, Democrat Howard Dean, fueled by a not-so-small army of supporters making online donations. In 2007, the presidential campaign for Libertarian Republican Congressman Ron Paul of Texas broke a Republican record by raising more than $5 million in a single day, nearly all of it online. In January 2008, insurgent Democratic presidential candidate Senator Barack Obama of Illinois raised $32 million, largely through hundreds of thousands of small online contributions. What a mouthful. Why is it worded like that? Insurgent Democratic presidential candidate Senator Barack Obama of Illinois. Many, especially progressives and libertarians, applaud this development, saying it levels the playing field by giving candidates independence from corporations and wealthy donors. On the downside, 527s, another result of McCain-Feingold, have been criticized for being too opaque. Without FEC regulation, it's difficult to know where their money comes from. Most importantly, though, McCain-Feingold was defanged by Citizens United v. Federal Election Commission, a landmark First Amendment Supreme Court ruling in 2010 that prohibits the government from placing any restrictions on campaign contributions from unions and corporations, for-profit or not-for-profit. The court also infamously ruled that unions and corporations are legally persons and therefore have a right to free speech. That's fine. The case came about over a court fight surrounding a nonprofit, Citizens United, which wanted to air an ad critical of Hillary Clinton nonprofit. Citizens United, which wanted to air an ad critical of Hillary Clinton during the primary season leading to the 2008 presidential election, in apparent defiance of McCain-Feingold. The Supreme Court upheld the need to disclose a source of finance for any campaign ad, but it did not affect the cap on direct contributions. I'm pretty good, Fart. How are you? Throat's getting tight. Hell yeah, glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. It does mention super PACs. Okay, I was hoping it would. One of the most important ramifications of Citizens United was the creation of super PACs. A super PAC can take unlimited funds from individuals, unions, and corporations to spend on electioneering, but it has to remain independent. For example, they cannot coordinate with any candidate's campaign. They can also mount direct attacks on candidates. However, in practice, it's very easy to indirectly coordinate because 1. Super PACs tend to be run by a candidate's inner circle, and 2. Super PACs can respond to any publicity available. Super PACs can respond to any publicly available information given by the candidate. Former Governor Mitt Romney's super PAC was run by 3 of his former staffers. President Obama grudgingly supported his super PAC, which was run by Clintonite Paul Begala. Coordination seems pretty easy. During the 2011 primary season, a super PAC promoting Newt Gingrich was running. What are these names, dog? Clintonite Paul Begala, Newt Gingrich was running attack ads against Mitt Romney. In a public videoed statement, Gingrich said that though he couldn't communicate with the super PAC directly, he could speak out as a citizen and called on them to pull the entire film. Finally, candidates can solicit money for super PACs, but only up to $5,000. The newest innovation's campaign finance is the super PAC, which is a combination of regular PAC and a super PAC. Oh, a super PAC. I didn't even see that. Did I fart today? Probably. I did eat Taco Bell like 2 hours ago, so more than likely. The newest innovation in campaign finance is the super PAC, which is a combination of a regular PAC and a super PAC, sometimes also called a hybrid PAC. There is no limit to how much a super PAC can raise or spend in promoting or opposing a candidate. That's the super PAC part. But it can also donate directly to campaigns and committees, the PAC part, subject to normal donation caps. TV satirist Stephen Colbert highlighted the campaign finance issue by creating his own super PAC, which created and ran TV ads. Both Colbert and Jon Stewart share the prominent lawyer Trevor Potter, who was a chairman of the FEC, John McCain's general counsel in the 2008 presidential race, and a major advocate for campaign finance reform. Oh, that's Z. I didn't realize. I thought Fart was asking me if I farted today. Absolutely, Z. I did fart. Absolutely. My answer changes because I know you asked. On the other side of the divide is James Bopp, the lawyer behind Citizens United and many other important deregulation cases. Bopp believes campaign finance is an issue of privacy. Bopp came out of the anti-abortion movement and thinks that anonymity protects people against harassment or discrimination based on their political views. While Bopp is widely understood to be ideologically committed to deregulating campaign finance, proponents of regulation say other deregulators are simply trying to find ways to pump more money and more influence into politics. Some continue to advocate for the full public financing of elections. A limited system of public matching funds already exists, providing public financing in exchange for a spending cap. but major candidates in both parties have opted out of the system. If all of a campaign's financing were public, reformers argue politicians wouldn't need donations at all. Politicians are ambivalent about public financing. On the other hand, they wouldn't have to spend so much time and effort fundraising. On the other, there wouldn't be hard limits on what they could spend. So far, they've stuck to raising money. When? Within the last 2 hours, maybe. I try not to, though. I try not to, only because I eat a lot of beans. I eat a lot of beans almost every day. And so sometimes you're like, do I gotta crap or do I gotta fart? I don't know if I want to risk it. I almost never get a solid toot that I can trust. Given that income inequality is rising and that Americans are faced with a slow economic recovery that has provided few new jobs, it is not surprising that there are ever louder calls to reform campaign financing, which many on both sides of the aisle feel allows a small number of wealthy individuals to have a disproportionate say in elections and legislation. The loudest and probably most persuasive recent advocate has been Lawrence Lessig, the Harvard Law School professor known for his work on copyright. Lessig was a hardcore Reagan Republican, clerked for conservative justice Antonin Scalia, and now considers himself a liberal or an ideological libertarian. Lessig's book, Republic Lost: How Money Corrupts Congress and a Plan to Stop It, offers an in-depth view on how money corrupts Washington, not in the quid pro quo Ron Blagojevich way, but in a quieter and therefore more dangerous way. Lessig's argument is several hundred pages long, but in a nutshell, he shows how changes in laws surrounding campaign financing have enslaved politicians to constantly raising huge amounts of money. Yeah, honestly though, I don't know if I got it in me, but even if I did, I don't think you'd be able to hear it. Maybe you would. It is like a pleather chair, so maybe. It's always possible. We'll just have to wait and see if it comes out naturally. I'm not going to force it. Definitely not going to force it. Man, my voice is getting hoarse. This is killing me. I've only been doing this for a half hour. This not only leaves them susceptible to people who can give large amounts of money, sometimes indirectly, but makes politicians reliant on lobbyists for what he calls legislative subsidies. Basically, Lessig argues that lobbyists provide a politician with much-needed advice and support on the issues they cover. Lobbyists know a lot about their industries and about political process. Okay, so like the problem I have with like people claiming lobbyists control everything, it's easy to buy. Arguably I would say, yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that. But the one thing that, like, if you're a huge, like, oh, lobbying is the biggest issue, we need to stop the lobbyists. Like, okay, first of all, how do you stop it? Secondly, that also so that it doesn't disproportionately affect people in lower income brackets. But also, like, can you think of a single issue that the vast majority of America, so I'm saying more than 70 to 80% of America wants this. Can you think of a single issue like that majority of America wants that doesn't get passed? Right? I could sit here and think about forever. Like, a lot of people will say, like, a lot of people want abortion to be legal, but like the vast majority don't. Are you sure the vast majority wants it? I think more than half do. Maybe 55 to 60% do, but that's not the vast majority. Free healthcare, like, a lot of people really want free healthcare, but a lot of people believe that it would be torture on our economy. So not the vast majority. Gun rights, I think the majority of America wants gun rights. The vast majority, or no, gun restrictions. The vast majority definitely don't. I don't know if majority, maybe half of the country, as more and more school shootings occur, maybe, but today, just a shirt, bro, and basketball shorts, light and simple. I had this hoodie on, and I took it off because it made my face like it washes my face out. See how like it gets like really white? It washed my face out like that for some reason. So I had to take it off because this camera absorbs color like crazy. See how like it just gets brighter? It's crazy. Look, if I put this book, once I face the white pages, it gets like bleached out. You can see it right here. Bleached out. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. I'm trying to stay drippy for the reading stream. One effect of this is that lobbyists wind up having a lot of say in which issues any particular politician will focus on. Lessig also thinks that the need to raise so much money means that Congress is less deliberative because members have less time to actually govern, and overly complicated because the more subcommittees a candidate can sit on, the more avenues she or he has for fundraising. He also thinks we need to pay government officials more, because they are otherwise tempted to cash out and become lobbyists at the end of their tenure. And if they're looking at a high-paying job lobbying for, say, teachers' unions, they probably won't be terribly objective when voting on issues that teachers care about. Lessig's point is that officials need to be compensated in line with their peers, which would be a high salary by national standards. By the way, this is a serious free market argument that every CEO in finance would perfectly understand. People are motivated in part by money, thus money can be used to direct behavior. Thank you. I agree. I think they do too. This was gonna be my rock climbing fit for today, but I ended up not going out of pure laziness, but I'm definitely gonna go tomorrow. I don't have work tomorrow, so. Can I stand? I mean, I guess. I mean, it's just basketball shorts, Chief. That's all. I can't get too far because my wire will disconnect. Oh God, that'll be a good thumbnail. Oh fuck! I have neighbors below me though. I don't want to stomp around too much. Thank you, man. This outfit cost me about 10 bands. 10 bands. Alright, what are we on? Page 25? Oh, we got less than 10 pages. We're almost done with the first chapter. It's gonna take me 2 days. Actually, if I read that correctly, first chapter is one of the biggest. So the first 2 chapters are both about 40 pages. The following chapter is less than 30. Less than 30. The next one's more than 20. So less than 30. Next one's less than 30. Less than 30. Less than 30. The next one's more than 30. More than 40, I think. Almost 40. Then it's 22 pages. So the biggest few chapters are right here. The next couple ones are gonna be out. Don't forget to fart. I mean, alright. I guess I'll try. What? You're the foot guy. You're the foot guy. I know you are. I know you are. Presidential elections. Now that we know how candidates raise their money, let's talk about what they're spending it on. Trying to win votes to send them to the White House. presidential candidates are officially chosen at a political party's national convention, held the summer before the election. Republicans and Democrats choose their candidates differently. The Republicans' process is more centralized, while the Democrat system is more diverse and depends heavily on state primary elections. This also means that the parties can have two very different selection processes in the same state. A Democratic primaries and caucuses, voters express their preferences from the party's nominee, but choosing the nominee in an indirect process that is filtered through the delegates to the National Convention who actually pick the nominee. In 2008, 4,049 delegates were slated to attend the Democratic Convention. This number varies by year, and a candidate needs only a simple majority to win nomination. 2,025 delegates. 2025. The number of delegates from each state, plus the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C., is determined by the state's share of the total Democratic popular vote in the last presidential election and its proportion to the electoral vote. The party also selects delegates to represent its state leadership. How do you become a delegate? It varies. At a primary or caucus, voters pick delegates who go to the county party convention. County conventions choose delegates for the state convention, and the state convention chooses delegates for the national convention. Okay. I'm sure you're not. So, it says, at a primary or a caucus, it says that voters, normal people, will pick a delegate, so they'll vote in a delegate. That's going to go to a county party convention, right? And then at that county convention, they're going to choose delegates for the state convention, and then the state convention has people that are going to choose for the national convention, usually. In some states, it's not that complicated. This process allocates most, but not all, of a state's delegates to the national convention, who are called the pledged delegates because they are loosely tied to a candidate by the results of their state's primary or caucus process. I agree, although I'm not the one to typically yuck someone's yum. I agree. The feet thing's weird. But a lot of people I think a lot of things are weird. A lot of people would think things that I like are weird, so what are you gonna do? Best rule to live by: don't yuck someone's yum unless it's illegal. Pledged delegates are appointed by a complex formula that varies by state. Now apply a proportional system wherein delegates are awarded according to the percentage of votes each candidate received in the state primary or caucuses by district or county. An extra number of delegates is often awarded by the state primary or caucus popular vote. Legally, delegates don't have to support whichever candidate they are pledged to support, and candidates can reject a delegate if they think he or she might not be loyal. So while a major insurrection among delegates is possible under the current system, it's not terribly likely. A number of unpledged or uncommitted superdelegates are chosen by the national party leadership. Usually, all Democratic members of Congress and Democratic governors are superdelegates, as are high DNC and state party officials. In 2008, 796 superdelegates were chosen. Superdelegates can be kingmakers, those who ultimately decide the party nominee, or sheep, those who reflect the popular vote. Understanding how superdelegates think is important to grasping the practical process of elections. Superdelegates are party insiders. One factor they consider is a candidate's national viability. They are more likely to pick a candidate with broad appeal. However, they may also judge a candidate's coattails, his or her ability to lift up other party candidates to victory. And this can actually make them choose a candidate with local rather than national appeal. Put another way, superdelegates will support candidates who appeal to their state's voters because it makes it easier for their party's politician to get elected if they are running on the same ballot. Superdelegates are also look long and hard at a candidate's supply of money. particularly their cash on hand, the money that's actually in the campaign's bank account. In most years, the superdelegates can't swing a nomination by their actual votes at the convention, but by endorsing, campaigning, and fundraising for a presidential candidate that they always have a lot of sway. I agree. They are most of the time very funny. Most of the time. Sometimes a little gross and icky. Most of the time funny. Republicans, on the other hand, elect about half as many delegates as Democrats to their national convention. In 2008, there were 2,380. Some delegates are chosen at state conventions, others by state party leadership. It depends entirely to the state. Each state is entitled to 6 delegates, while the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, and American Samoa are given 4 each, and Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. have a whopping 14 each. This reflects the federal aspect of the delegation. Each state gets an additional 3 delegates for every member of Congress, a total of 435, which preserves proportional representation. States can also earn bonus delegates for their level of local Republican support. For instance, if a majority of the state voted for a Republican in the last presidential election. Don't forget to fart for fart. That's funny to say. Anyways, we're gonna there are two big differences between Republican and Democratic nomination procedures. First, a majority of the Republican primaries and caucuses have a winner-take-all system, awarding all of the state's pledged delegates to the statewide winner. This makes it far more likely for a candidate who wins a number of early states, even by narrow margins, to pull away from the pack. Bernie! Bro, he's raising crazy crowds with AOC. They raised like 9,000 here in Michigan. They had like 34,000 wherever they were. I don't know where the state they were at last was. But I'd be surprised if he runs again. He is an old man now. I'm trying to read that. It's like compressed for me more than you guys. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I was reading about that, and like I was reading, and like I don't know if it was just a bullshit article, but like I think the president of the EPA or like a high up official was like totally down with like reversing regulations on them or whatever, and I was like, what? Isn't that like your whole thing? Is like to be anti-environment? That seems kind of odd, but maybe I misread it. I don't know. I got it from... I don't remember where I got it from. Yeah. Lee Zeldin, the current EPA administrator, has been criticized for rolling back environmental regulations, including those related to climate change and air water quality, and for potentially prioritizing deregulation over environmental protection. Yeah, okay. So it was this guy I was reading about, and I was like, why the fuck are you there? That's not your job. You are in the wrong business. But I guess if your goal is to get rid of that kind of stuff, infiltrate the system and change it from there, I guess, right? That's crazy. That's sad. That is sad. Oh, thanks, dude. Just listening to me yap. Listening to me yap. Damn, where was I? Oh, right. First, a majority of the Republican primaries and caucuses have a winner-take-all system, awarding all of the state's pledged delegates to the statewide winner. This makes it far more likely for a candidate who wins a number of early states, even by narrow margins, to pull away from the pack. Second, many more Republican delegates than Democrat-led delegates are unpledged. Again, it varies by state. In some states, all Republican delegates are unpledged. In others, most are pledged. The upshot is that the Republican process tends to be more top-down, while Democratic processes are more bottom-up. Republicans are more likely to have their candidate chosen by kingmakers in the national party. The Republicans' method is generally less divisive and more orderly than the Democrats'. Many think that this allows Republicans to field stronger candidates in the general election. Oh, thank you. Not only are there differences between the Democratic and Republican procedures, but there are also differences among the various types of primaries and caucuses. Primaries are run by each party, administered on the state level, and overseen by state governments. In an open primary, anyone can vote regardless of party affiliation. A Republican could vote for Democratic candidates and vice versa. Open primaries are rare, though, and what's more common is a semi-open system in which independent voters can vote in either the Democratic or Republican primary. In a closed primary, only registered party members are allowed to vote, and independents are left out in the cold. What? I'm getting hot. Oh, it's my candle. Many contenders drop out of the presidential race as primaries are conducted because primaries are increasingly considered indicators of potential success. Whoever wins early primaries receives a lot of media attention and more donations. Thus, states with early contests such as New Hampshire and Iowa are often said to enjoy disproportionate influence in presidential elections. The periodic table song, yo. Kinda gas. It's one of my favorite songs. The national party committees allow them to hold early primaries in order to ensure that small states have some influence in the process and to force candidates to campaign there in person, feasible in small states, while large ones rely more heavily on TV ads. However, the committees sometimes reschedule states' primaries to give more weight and influence to various groups. In 2008, for example, Nevada's primary was moved up in order to give Hispanics more visibility in the election process. Republican presidential hopefuls are more reliant on straw polls, non-binding votes that help measure how much popular support each candidate enjoys. One key poll, the Ames straw poll in Ames, Iowa, has been held since 1979 in the August before an election year when there is no incumbent Republican presidential nominee. Let him sing it for you, bro. Oh, there's like dried wax on my lip. Ah! got it on my book. There's like dried wax on here, dude. I wonder if it's gonna... I hope that comes off. Oh, thanks, dude. Thanks. Okay. Oh, smoke is killing me right now. Maybe I'd pull and it'll auto-vote Bernie by pulling the straw. I don't know what you're talking about. I kind of want Z to sing the periodic table song to you. That's what I want to hear. Iowa employs a caucus system instead of a primary. The Republican and Democratic versions are significantly different. The Iowa caucuses became nationally important for Democrats in 1976 when Democratic Georgia Governor Jimmy Carter used his second-place win, most who voted were in fact undecided, as a sign of success. The Democratic caucus is a sort of community debate. Bro. Sodium for salty times, sodium for salty times, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, then sulfur, chlorine, then argon, potassium, and calcium, so you'll grow strong. Very good. More. Is that the whole song? That's not all the elements. That's not all of them. Keep going. Participants vote in their precinct, where they gather in a room divided into areas by candidate. There's also a section for undecided voters. Then everybody tries to persuade everyone else to support their chosen candidate. Competing groups bring signs and t-shirts, start chants and songs, and serve food. I think while I was at the Bernie speaking thing, they had Auntie's Pretzels at a food truck there. That was pretty cool. While monetary bribery is frowned upon, luring your rival's supporters with cupcakes is fair game. After half an hour, the mini-election is stopped and officials determine which candidates are viable, namely those who receive at least 15% of the initial vote. This whittles down the choices, and people who were supporting an unviable candidate have another half an hour to choose someone else. The realignment process is perhaps the biggest difference between Democratic primaries and caucuses because it means that being some people's second favorite candidate can really help a campaign. Republican caucuses are usually a secret poll, and there is no realignment. What? Helium, oh, I'm bouncing. Neon, oh god, I'm bouncing. Is Z still typing the rest of the song? I kind of want to hear it. Everyone wants to hear it. I wonder if Fart's still here. New Hampshire, unlike Iowa, has some claim as an important national indicator because there is a plurality of independent voters in the state, around 37%. I'm gonna stay right here, Z. I'm gonna read it out as you sing it. A little over 1/3 are registered Republicans, and about 1/4 are registered Democrats. But the state is trending increasingly Democratic. Like New Hampshire, Iowa is a small state, and its caucus voters do not reflect the nation's demographic makeup. Iowa caucus. Oh God. All right. Titanium, vanadium, and chromium and magnesium. Wait, titanium, vanadium, and chromium, and manganese. This is the periodic table, Nobel gases table. Algoins and alkaline reacted recipes, each period will to the right. Brother, what? Did you type that in right? I don't believe that that's the song. I don't believe that that's a real song. I'm gonna be real with you. Iowa caucus goers are almost all white, slightly wealthier than the average American, much more likely to be involved in agriculture, and older, nearly half are over 55. But in 2008, Democratic Senator Barack Obama led a huge get out the vote effort among young Iowans who helped carry him to a large and unexpected victory. New Hampshire and Iowa are extremely important for Democrats. For Republicans, New Hampshire has traditionally... Play it? Alright. Why not? Why not? It's a silly little song. Silly little song. Let's see. Edgy Tumor subscribed. Let's see here. We're gonna do it. 2018 update. That means the new elements are here.
Before I understood what nuclear truly meant, before I could use my mind to move a submarine, I had to be born for it.
And now, ASAP Science presents the elements of the periodic table.
There's hydrogen and helium, then lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon everywhere, nitrogen all through the air, oxygen so you can breathe, and fluorine for your pretty teeth, neon to light up the sign, sodium for salty times,
Magnesium,
aluminium, silicon,
phosphorus,
then sulfur, chlorine, and argon,
potassium,
and calcium so you'll grow strong,
scandium,
titanium, vanadium, and chromium, and manganese. This is the periodic table, no gas is stable, halogens and alkali reacted recipes. Period will see new outer shell will electrons are added, moving to the right. Iron is the 26th, then cobalt, nickel, points again, copper, zinc, and gallium, germanium, and arsen, selenium, and rhodium, thermal, krypton helps light up your room, rubidium, and strontium, then yttrium, zirconium,
niobium,
molybdenum, technetium,
ruthenium,
rhodium, palladium,
silverware,
then cadmium and indium,
tin cans,
antimony, then tellurium, and iodine, and xenon, and then cesium, and this is where the table splits, where lanthanides have just begun. Lanthanum, cerium, and praseodymium.
Atomic's back for the periodic song, see?
Samarium, europium, gadolinium, and terbium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, ytterbium, lutetium, hafnium, tantalum, tungsten, then we're on to rhenium, osmium, and iridium, platinum, gold to make you rich till you grow old, mercury to tell you when it's really cold, thallium, and lead, the bismuth for your tummy, polonium,
Bismuth for your tummy.
yummy, radar, and cesium will last a little time, radium, then actinides at 89. This is the periodic table.
We're almost there, guys. We're almost done.
Each period will see new outer shells with electrons are to the right. Actinium, thorium, protactinium,
Thorium?
uranium, neptunium, plutonium, americium, curium, berkelium, californium,
Americium.
isonium, indolinium, nobelium, lawrencium, rutherfordium, wm, sprigium, borium, hesium, pneumaturium, dubsidium, rucanium, copernicium, nihonium, flerovium, moscovium, livermorium, tennessine, and organesson, and then we're done. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Alright, bro. That was a lot. Yeah? that was interesting. That was cool. I know all the elements. And then we're done. Exactly. We're done. And then we're done. Hey. No. Big Bang Theory's intro is actually pretty good. It's actually really good. My headphones are broken. I gotta adjust them so weirdly. Why? This one's dead. Hello? Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. It's working. I know. That was a lot. That was a good song, and Z knew most of it. No. No. I was telling the other two people here about it last time. Ghost Hunt stream. Yeah. Amonin? Ghost? Yeah, Atomic Fridge should do a sleep stream. I agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, Atomic Sleep Paralysis Demon Stream. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. You guys are spitting right now. I forgot where I was. For Republicans, New Hampshire has traditionally been a key primary, but attention has shifted to South Carolina because New Hampshire hasn't predicted the eventual Republican nominee lately, since it isn't a mainstream Republican state. I mean, he so suggested it, so I think he also wants to do it. I think so. I think so. Follow your passions. Don't be a follower, be a leader. Lead us. Lead us to the sleep streams. Oh. I want Z's comment on that. What does Z think about... What does Z think about the parallels between the interdimensional plane and our universal sign language is very intriguing. I don't know how to mod. Can you mod people? Is that a thing? On PlayStation? Well, it's YouTube, right? Is that a thing? I don't think so. Atomic Fridge has to say it again. Z didn't understand. What is this picture? What is that? What? What is these? It's just a white screen. I mean, am I lying if you were the one suggesting it? True. True. You suggested it. He's kind of spitting with that one. I gotta... Oh, man. True. Don't suppress the truth. You said it. That's true. They're being honest. Don't abuse your powers. I'll abuse you. Hey, Fart, are you there? If you weren't, you missed it. New Hampshire residents. Bro, you missed it. I fucking shit my pants. Did you not hear it? Am I tweaking? Wasn't that audible? Oh, you did. Fire. But bro, you were asking me earlier if I farted today, so I just wanted to, confirm that. Can everybody rate it? 1 to 10, please? Please? I'm insecure. 1 to 10. 1 being really bad, 10 being really stinky. Thank you. Spit them out. Let's go. Want them all along here. Keep it. Come on. 4.3. Yum? That's not a number, but I can't. Is this a joke? I'm trying to head it off. It was loud. I don't know what color they are, man. I got no clue. First warning. 9.3. Fly here. Fart. 9 point. Alright, you're glazing now. That's glaze. That's unrealistic. That's near perfect. I could have done a lot better. I think. Why is wet bad? How many warnings are there? Oh, I'm getting heartburn. Did I just suck all the heat out of my body? Oh my god. It was loud. .3, that's like less than average. That was a lower than average toot. New Hampshire residents display a libertarian streak. They're like Maverick, outsider candidates. For instance, in 2000, they chose John McCain over George W. Bush. They even chose Pat Buchanan over George H.W. Bush, then the sitting president in 1992. Wetness. Fourth warning, you're on thin ice, Buster. South Carolina, on the other hand, seems to mirror the National Republican Party more closely. People in New Hampshire and Iowa wind up having a lot of influence on the national race, and they also experience more personal contact with presidential hopefuls because of the huge amount of effort put into each primary campaigning. Ice is wet. Is that bannable? Yo, I'm not gonna lie. It itches now. I gotta take care of that. I will be right back.
This is Boomerang from Cartoon Network. 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 This is Boomerang from Cartoon Network.
Feel the confidence to get closer.
I relate. Okay. What's happening? What's been happening? I am so good, man. Thank you for asking. Um, Message was deleted. What happened? Holy what happened? Like, oh, the wet. Okay. Thank you. Timed out for 10 seconds. God, I'm free. I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry. That was scary. Anyway, how are you guys? I'm okay. That's good to hear. Why are we getting personable? It's just a kind question. Lame question. Be more interesting, please. Boomerang from Cartoon Network. Okay. So does asking you how you are offend you? Yeah, I'm scared of my feelings, Z. Wow. I relate. Are you okay, bro? Glad to hear so. Look up Operation Midnight Climax. What? Okay. It looks like I'm getting a bunch of Joe Rogan things talking about it, so that's usually a red flag. CIA mind control? Okay, let's look it up on YouTube. Or not YouTube. Midnight Climax. Operation Midnight Climax was an operation carried out by the CIA as a sub-project of Project MK Ultra, the mind control research program that began in the 1950s. What's your name, bro, so I know what to call you? That's fart. That's different from Z. Z was the one not wanting to get personal. I believe I read about one of these. Which one was it? These old 1900 operations. Oh, yeah, it was Operation Northwoods, and the plan developed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the CIA, I believe. And the plan suggested staging false flag terrorist attacks on American soil to justify military intervention against Cuba. The proposal included fabricating attacks on U.S. civilians and military targets, staging hijackings, and even faking casualties. However, President John F. Kennedy and his administration rejected the plan, and it was never carried out. The details of Operation Northwoods was later declassified in the 1990s, revealing how far the military was willing to go during the Cold War to create a pretext for war with Cuba. Oh. Okay then. My bad, fart. Disrespecting fart. Veteran of the stream. Fart and Z have been here since the beginning. Yeah, hashtag no comment. Hashtag swag. Okay, brother. Okay, brother. Hashtag skill. Hashtag skill. Bars. Hashtag bars. Hashtag skill. Hashtag Liddy. Alright, I got like 5 pages left of this chapter. Let me crack this out. Hashtag get a life, bro. Y'all are getting cooked. That's crazy. There's gonna be no response to that too. There's gonna be nothing. They got nothing for that. The fact that low population states have so much clout has angered larger states, spurring several to move the dates of their 2008 primaries forward. California started the rush when it moved its primary from June to February 5th. Michigan and Florida then moved theirs to January. Hashtag we all have one. I think I know the Tuskegee syphilis one. That was when they gave vaccines purposefully to people, to African people, to give them syphilis. That was crazy. Considering that we all live and considering that we are all alive and communicating, Z, we all have a life. I'm gonna be real, Z. Hashtag science kind of nailing the coffin, you. Let's see if you can dig your way out. Bible and Jesus right after. Oh, hey, I didn't think he could come out of it, but he came back. He came back. Biology? You're done so, buddy. You're done, Buster. The major primary day on which many states vote is called Super Tuesday. The original Super Tuesday took place in March and involved a block of southern states that wanted to create a regional primary to exercise more influence over the nominating process. Hey Z, they're kind of right. Like, if Jesus created everything, Jesus created biology and science. Z, you might have to call for Fart to come in and help you. You're getting 2v1'd right now. You're getting 2v1'd. In 2008, February 5th became the new Super Tuesday with more than 20 states voting, and in 2012 it fell on March 6th. The effects of the compressed primary schedule and whether to change it are sure to be debated for years to come. The Democratic National Committee, DNC, decided to boycott Florida's and Michigan's 2008 primaries as retributions for the state's decisions to move their primaries forward, which the DNC thought went against the party's best interests. Whoa, holy shit. I can't keep up with this. Let's see here. I need to know what's happening. Biology is life. We breathe, eat, and sleep biology. You eat, sleep, and breathe sins. Listen, I'm just a spectator. Alright guys, you'll get banned for anti-Semitic remarks. Now I turn Jewish today. You'll go to third warning for this one. I'm just a preacher. Okay, that was a bit too far. Preach that, foo. Don't let anyone tell you no. Alright. In theory, this meant that two states' convention votes were forfeit, but exactly what would happen to the state's delegates remained up in the air well into the nominating process. You know, you missed it. Bible streams are, while you would expect them to be on Sundays, they're traditionally on Mondays, so... Florida's Democratic Senator Bill Nelson and Democratic Representative Alcee Hastings sued the DNC for disenfranchising their state, but the case was thrown out as the Democratic nominating process wore on and proved close. What to do became a big problem. And I didn't ask you to turn a joke so serious, bro. Jesus does say, we do not go to O Block as a sinner, we go to pray. I bet you Z's probably from O Block. Z seems kind of hard. Are you strapped? Oh, fuck. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Getting cooked. Some proposed a do-over election, but nobody could agree on who should pay for it. Others wanted to seat the existing delegates. The problem was that in Michigan, only Hillary Clinton's name was actually on the ballot, so it seemed that seating those delegates would be unfair to the other candidates. In Florida, technically, candidates weren't allowed to campaign, though many visited and held fundraisers, so how that affected the outcome was uncertain. During the 2012 election, the RNC was so worried about states moving their primaries forward that it decided to invalidate one half of the delegates of any state that held its primary before March 6th. New Hampshire, South Carolina, Florida, Arizona, and Michigan decided on early primaries nonetheless. I'm Muslim and I consider him as a prophet. You can't affect me for my religious beliefs. Good thing I have my phone open. I don't know what the hell that says. Many argue that early primaries merely grease the wheels for establishment candidates because underdog or independent candidates need more time to catch voters' attention. Some worry that the early schedule exacerbates a presidential hopeful's need for money because it is financially demanding to run ground operations, let alone buy airtime in several states all at once and early on. Z, are you gonna let them disrespect you like that? Now they're spitting on your religion? Gotta defend yourself, man. Don't let them walk on you like that. Come on. Stand for your values. Don't let them punk you. Yeah, I'm long gone. Just saying, I don't wish bad on y'all. I never did. You guys are hurting Z. You're pushing him away. He's been a veteran of this stream. He's been a veteran and a lifelong viewer. Personable. And Fart just left you hanging. Z respects you guys, even if you don't respect him. Keep that in mind. He's been nothing but respectful to you guys. Yeah, you should say thank you. You know, it'd be really funny is if you could hear the bathtub downstairs. That'd be so funny. I mean, it's like 11:30. I hope they're not taking a bath this late at night, but still. If primaries aren't conclusive, a brokered convention can result. If primaries aren't conclusive, a brokered convention can result, meaning that a candidate is actually chosen at the national convention by insider wheeling and dealing. This was the norm before the 1970s. The chaos and violence surrounding the 1968 Democratic National Convention, much of it captured on live TV, persuaded both parties to turn their conventions into scripted media events with de facto nominees. On God, probably this one. Look at that fine stitching and needling. The color. The color. Oh heavens. How much? What do you mean? Huh? What's wrong with my sock, bro? Why is the heel to top of the foot like? What do you mean? What? That's not that long, bro. What do you mean? What do you have, size 9 women's shoe size? I mean technically the black one's longer. What? I'm not gonna be gaslit into thinking that my sock size is too fucking long or that big, alright? I have normal size feet. You should see it. I just had to throw away a couple of them because they had holes right on the heel spot. Because I guess that's where the most pressure is when I walk. I don't know if I'm autistic. No, I think landing on your heel when you run or walk is normal. I think, yeah, it's when you're like walking on your like the ball of your foot that means you usually kind of have like a problem. Once the parties have decided on their presidential nominees, campaigning shifts into high gear for the election in November. The Constitution mandates that the presidential elections be held every 4 years on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Many think that we should move the election to a weekend or make Election Day a national holiday to encourage voter turnout, which is what most developed nations do. Which I don't see any bad idea for that. How did you know? How did you know? Unopened. Unopened. Oh. Oh. Food length. Oh, it does say food length. I didn't even pick up on that. What is playing? Oldies, that's what's playing. I probably should bring that chalk. I'll be using a chalk ball. They're okay. It just seems like it's less effective. Although the loose chalk I use really just gets everywhere. It's like weightlifting chalk. Rock climbing chalk is supposed to be a little more sticky. Edgy Tumor sounds like a really gnarly rock climbing name. This brings us back to the Electoral College, which has come under some increased criticism. The 538 electors are relatively obscure and individuals ultimately selected by the state parties. But in some states, they also appear on the ballot. Electors are pledged but not bound to cast their votes according to the dictates of the popular vote in their state, but every once in a while, someone who doesn't. I've used it once. I think he used it once, but I think Z dipped out. I think he got bullied out. I think you guys bullied him out. Farts back. Not much. Thumbs down, rock climb. Bro, you sound like a rock climber. Damn. Wow. Wow. That didn't pop up on my YouTube chat. Bazinga. In 2000, one of the D.C. electors cast a blank ballot to protest Washington, D.C.'s lack of congressional representation, a rare example of a faithless elector. 24 states have laws to punish faithless electors, though none have ever been prosecuted. Many advocates for voter reform think that we should dehumanize electors. They propose that whoever wins the popular vote in any given state should automatically be allocated the state's electoral votes. Thus, a serious rebellion among electors would be impossible. Is it like a banned word or something? Do a flip. Whoa. Whoa. That was crazy. Did you see me? Did you see me do it? Oh, thanks, man. Oh, man, I can only do that once. Advocates of the Electoral College insist that it captures the federalist nature of American government by preserving the importance of states. They also argue that the system forces candidates to pay attention to minority interests. Since the state winner gets all the electoral votes, the stakes in gaining a plurality are magnified. A single vote could, in theory, be the difference between all 54 of California's electoral votes and none at all. Others believe that Electoral College is in dire need of reform. The strongest criticism is that it dilutes the votes of the political minority in each state. If your state is 51% or 99% Republican, the Republican candidate wins all the electoral votes. Votes in the minority would count more if we used a system that more closely reflected the outcome of the popular vote. Many contend that the Electoral College encourages candidates to campaign almost exclusively in swing states, states that could go either Democrat or Republican, and which tend to do so by a small margin. Oh, thank you, dude. I think you asked me before. I think it was you that asked me about these. And I had to show over there that it's, wait, hold on. What the fuck? Oh, fuck. It's like a little Eminem poster with Eminem CDs around it. I haven't finished it yet. I got lazy. I gotta straighten them out a little bit, reorganize them, which is partially why I haven't yet, because it's a lot. Yo, he's back? Welcome back, dog. I knew you couldn't. I knew you wouldn't just ditch. Look how massive my arm is from this angle. And then, what was that thing? Bullies, bro. Getting bullied over here. My mod needs to take care of this. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Absolutely. Republican or Democratic strongholds receive no real attention from either party. Instead, contestants focus on states where support is nearly evenly split. Lately, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Iowa, New Mexico, and New Hampshire. Not so much Florida now. You can tell this is like 2019 coded. Critics also point out that small states lose out because they have few electoral votes. Recent elections, however, have been so close that even small cities... small states' electoral votes count. In 2000, New Hampshire, with its 4 electoral votes, would have given Gore the victory. Yeah. Come drink my tears. Edgy sounds scared. Sounds like they're trembling. Finally, the Electoral College makes it almost impossible for third parties to emerge because it allocates votes based on plurality, not on proportion. Thus, a new party would have a very difficult time ever getting any electoral votes. Some see this as an advantage because they think that the two-party system we have is much more stable than a multi-party system. Arguably it is. The most basic and decisive reform would be to abolish the Electoral College altogether and move to a more direct popular vote. That would be risky though, because only one side, besides the last election, I think, only one side has ever benefited and won from Electoral College votes alone. I think Republican parties are the only ones that have ever won by Electoral College alone. Besides this last election. Every other time, yeah, I don't think a Democrat president has ever won just by Electoral College and lost the popular. I don't think so. Could be wrong. What got deleted? Hold on, what? Oh, Allah. Yeah, let's think positive, alright? We don't need all this negativity. Good fart. Kisses for fart. The most basic and decisive reform would be to abolish the Electoral College altogether and move to a more direct popular vote. This would require a constitutional amendment which demands ratification by 3/4, 38 of the states. There is a precedent. While senators were originally appointed by state legislators, the 17th Amendment, added in 1913, mandated the direct popular election. Proportional allocation of electoral votes would not require a constitutional amendment. Instead of the winner of the state's popular vote taking all of the state's electoral votes should be divided according to the percentage of the popular vote received by each candidate. Maine actually uses a modified version of this system. In Maine, the statewide vote determines 2 electors, with each congressional district's results dictating the vote of the elector. In 2007, proportional allocation was debated in California and North Carolina. Democrats worried that such a move in California could hand 20 electoral votes to Republicans, and that if only some states adopted that reform, the result could be skewed. An alternative proposal would trigger the reform only if a number of other states approved it as well. Jesus. Look at Fart, trying to improve themselves. Wish some of the other people in this chat room could do something like that. Yikes. The best voice? Thank you, bro. Weird glaze. Who are you? Do I know you? Let's go to the channel. Hey man, that Fortnite video from 13 days ago, I'll watch it for you. Bro, is that Taylor Swift as Deadpool? Is that a thing? Did she dress up as Deadpool? Or is that not Taylor Swift? I can't tell. Okay. One plan that has begun to receive support is the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, or NPV, that's a mouthful, which would effectively... That's cool. I like Taylor Swift a little more now. I went to hang out at my parents' house because my cousin was watching my dog there, their dog there, and she's a big Swiftie, so we were just talking about Taylor Swift, and she explained to me a little bit of the lore and how a lot of her albums are getting re-released as Taylor's version now. But also, I didn't know this, but she dated Jake Gyllenhaal. I didn't know that. Called him a male manipulator. Obviously, being a woman, she's just full of it, you know. But I could see it. Jake's a nepo baby, so I could see it. But, and the whole album Red is about Jake Gyllenhaal, apparently. Because at the end of the day, there are people in the world suffering, and it's really sad. That's why I always try to help others in need. That's what Jesus would do. Fart's on it. Fart knows what's up. One plan that has begun to receive support is the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, or NPV, which would effectively shift the election of the president to the popular vote through Electoral College and by the authority of the states. Here's how it would work. The Constitution allows each state to determine independently how it will apportion its electors. Apportion? I've never heard of that word. Apportion. Any state that passes the compact agrees to give all its electoral votes to whichever candidate wins the national popular vote. The agreement... I agree, Fart, you are amazing. The agreement would be activated only when states accounting for half of the Electoral College passed it, a form of ratification. With half of the Electoral College accounted for, though, the popular vote winner would be guaranteed to win the election. The plan radically reduces the number of states needed to enact reform when compared to that required to ratify a constitutional amendment. Electoral issues are so fundamental to our system of government that it affects us all so profoundly that it is a good thing that so many of them have been brought to public attention recently. Though the status quo usually serves the interests of incumbent politicians, calls for various kinds of electoral reform are mounting. The beauty of our system is, after all, its responsiveness to public demand, even if change takes time. Round of applause for Fart. And that's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 is about the economy, dog. And that one, that's a thick puppy. That's this many pages. I don't know if I got it in me. That one, damn, that one goes from page 34 to 74. That's 40 pages. Cool. This is the book so far. I like it. 4th edition. It's kind of spitting. It's educating me a tiny bit. The election chapter is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna cap, yo. I like the election one. Oh no, where'd my bookmark go? Oh. Hearts? If I have to give you all some advice, it would be to always help someone in need. Alright, you ready? Since it's still technically Sunday, for 8 more minutes, we're gonna read a little bit of this. Alright, you ready? We're gonna start... We're going to start at Jesus being delivered to the crucifix. What about if the someone is yourself, but you can't help yourself, Fart? Yes. If you have sensitive ears, please cover now. Fuck. Alright. Jesus delivered to be crucified. Then Pilate took Jesus and flogged him, and the soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head and arrayed him in a purple robe. They came up to him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews," and struck him with their hands. Pilate went out again and said to them, "See, I am bringing him out to you so that you may know that I find no guilt in him." So Jesus came out, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. Pilate said to them, "Behold the man." When the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no guilt in him." The Jews answered him, "We have a law, and according to that law he ought to die because he has made himself the Son of God." When Pilate heard this statement, he was even more afraid. He entered into his headquarters again and said to Jesus, "Where are you from?" But Jesus gave him no answer. So Pilate said to him, "You will not speak to me? Do you not know that I have the authority to release you and the authority to crucify you?" Jesus answered him, "You would have no authority over me at all unless it had been given to you from above. Therefore, he who delivered me over to you has the greater sin." The physicologist me. What? Why aren't you a Muslim? What did he do? What did they say that was wrong? From then on, Pilate sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, "If you release this man, you are not Caesar's friend. Everyone who makes himself a king opposes Caesar." So when Pilate heard these words, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judgment seat at a place called the Stone Pavement and in Aramaic Gabbatha. Now it was the day of preparation of the Passover. It was about the 6th hour. He said to the Jews, "Behold your king." They cried out, "Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him!" Pilate said to them, "Shall I crucify your king?" The chief priests answered, "We have no king but Caesar." So he delivered him over to be crucified. Just think about it. Think about why all of us aren't Muslim. What if some of us are Muslim? This is the next section, the crucifixion. So they took Jesus, and he went out, bearing his own cross, to the place called the Place of a Skull, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on either side, and Jesus between them. Pilate also wrote an inscription and put it on the cross. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." Many of the Jews read this inscription, and for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Aramaic, in Latin, and in Greek. So the chief priests of the Jews said to Pilate, "Do not write the King of the Jews, but rather, this man said, 'I am the King of the Jews.'" Pilate answered, What I have written, I have written." When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his garments and divided them into 4 parts, 1 part for each soldier, also his tunic. But the tunic was seamless, woven in one piece from top to bottom. So they said to one another, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it to see whose it shall be." This was to fulfill the scripture which says, "They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." If you were mocking me or making fun of me, just say so. No one's mocking you, fart. No one's mocking you. I know I'm smiling. I'm smiling because of what Adam said. What Adam said. See? Look, immediate accountability. Apologizing when they were wrong. Some of you could learn from that. So the soldiers did these things, but standing by the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother, the disciple whom he loved, standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour the disciple took her to his home. Atom. The next section is called Death of Jesus. After this, Jesus, knowing all that was now finished, said, to fulfill the scripture, "I thirst." A jar full of sour wine stood there. So they put a sponge full of the sour wine on a hyssop branch and held it to his mouth. When Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, "It is finished." And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. The next section. Jesus' side is pierced. Since it was the day of preparation, and so that the bodies would not remain on the cross on the Sabbath, for that the Sabbath was a high day, the Jews asked Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and of the other who had been crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus, they saw that he was already dead. They did not break his legs, but one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear. And at once there came out blood and water. He who saw it has borne witness. His testimony is true, and he knows that he is telling the truth, that you also may believe. For these things took place that the scripture might be fulfilled. Not one of his bones will be broken. And again, the scripture says, they will look on him whom they have pierced. God. Very gentle. You go to hell, bro? What? What are you talking about? Message retracted? The soldiers aren't the only ones coming. Fart, how do you feel about that? Because I'm not Muslim. Why am I... Bro, what? I'm not going at... What? Okay, hold on. Wait. Ro, do you know what Pascal's wager is? Hold on, I got a book for you, Ro. I got a book for you, pal. Got a book for you, pal. Let me pull up the table of contents. Just think about it. You gotta let me know. You gotta tell me. I might not be capable of thinking about it. You might have to leave me breadcrumb trails to the cave of knowledge. Page 59. All that wrong, huh? Okay. Here, this one's for you. This section right here, this is for you, Ro, okay? I'm gonna read this out. Tell me what you think. Okay? In the mid-1600s, for you, Ro. In the mid-1600s, mathematician and philosopher Blaise Pascal introduced an argument that could come to be called Pascal's wager. His argument discusses the issue of religious belief from a mathematical standpoint, determining that the cost of belief is lower than the cost of atheism. The wager takes the following format, all right? It goes, if you believe in God and he does exist, you will be rewarded with eternity in heaven. If you believe in God and he does not exist, nothing will happen to you. If you reject belief in God and he does exist, you will be doomed to an eternity in hell. And if you don't believe in God and he doesn't exist, nothing will happen to you. And based on this, it says that mathematically, you have better odds of just believing just to be safe. Okay? Wow. You were rude even though Fart tried giving everyone positive advice. Fart told everybody to be positive, and to always improve yourself. Have humility. Okay? Now, Ro, this part's also for you. It's called choosing the right God. Multiple religions exist throughout the world, and the message of most are at odds with each other. Among the two largest religions, Christianity and Islam, it's clear that worshiping the right deity in the appropriate way is crucial to finding salvation. To enter heaven as a Christian, you must be saved by believing in Jesus as your Savior. And it cites a bunch of Bible verses. According to some verses in the Quran, non-Muslims will end up in hell, and it cites a bunch of Quran verses. All of this means that the belief in God alone is not sufficient to enter heaven. It also means that if you happen to believe in the wrong God, you can end up still in hell, even if you follow the tenets of your chosen religion perfectly. For example, the Judeo-Christian God was real and the Bible accurate. Every Muslim, Buddhist, and Hindu would go to hell, regardless of how devoutly they believe their own religion. The Bible says he will punish those who do not know God and do not obey the gospel of our Lord Jesus. Similar verses are seen in the Quran. And whoever desires other than Islam as religion will never be accepted from him, and he in the hereafter will be among the losers. According to some definitions of Islam in the Quran, this also includes Jews and Christians, but not members of the non-Abrahamic religions. So, Pascal's wager assumes a very narrow and specific definition. Moreover, believing in God simply to avoid the punishment of hell is an empty type of belief. Surely an all-knowing God could identify this insincerity and reward only true believers, not those who worship just to avoid consequences. So effectively, yeah. What do you mean? You talking to me, Ro? I thought we were lit. I thought we were homies. I thought we were pals. Call me stupid? That wasn't very nice. I do plan on buying a... Well, it's tough, because, like, for Christianity, there's, like, 66 books. I'm not reading all that, alright? Nothing is worth that much of my time. So I picked up something small, basic, get the general grasp. The Gospel of John. That was cool. I don't really think they have something that small, short, and sweet like that for Islam. I kind of have to read the whole entire Quran, right? I know there's hadiths, but, like, do any of those stand alone by themselves, right? Making fun of someone is a sin. And now Adam is tone policing you. Are you going to tolerate that, Z? Yeah, everybody kiss. Platonically and consensually. Ooh. I don't think Jesus did. I don't think Jesus did. Damn. That was fucked up. What are you gonna do about that, Z? Ooh. Ooh. To the Holy Quran? Listen to it. You mean like read it? I'll get around to it. I mean, it's a thick ass book, right? I think the last thick book I read, it took me a while, but maybe I wasn't locked in. Oh, these are the only books I've read the last 2 years, right? And I think this is the thickest one I've read. It's 420 pages. This one was pretty fire. Took a lot of notes out of that one. This one was pretty gas. Gas. This one really tested my limits. This was very... I felt... You know... I just finished this one last stream I read it. This was pretty good. This is really, I plan on getting the rest of them. This made me sad. Made me very sad. This was pretty lit. What is happening? What is happening? Why are there paragraphs and stories being written in here? Wow, I'm sure making fun of someone while they were giving you advice is messed up. Z, you're just trying to cause a problem. Do you want some attention? You're making Fart feel like he's being bullied when really Fart is top tier in this chat. When did I ever say that? Holy Quran stream next? Oh, second bully warning. That's not good. Alright, now that I've got your attention, I'm going to take this moment to preach. Am I gonna fart again? No. Maybe. I can't guarantee anything, right? It caught me by surprise last time, right? Can I try? What? I'm being harassed. I'm a victim. I am a victim. I'm a victim. What the fuck is happening? Alright, we're gonna take a moment to preach out of a book. This is a small little paragraph. It resonated with me heavily. Can a purely moral demand of this kind succeed? The odds are certainly against it. The book holds out no inducements. It does not tell us that we will become healthier or enjoy life more if we cease exploiting animals. Animal liberation will require greater altruism on the part of mankind than any other liberation movement, since animals are incapable of demanding it for themselves or of protesting against their exploitation by votes, demonstrations, or bombs. Is man capable of such genuine altruism? Who knows? If this book does have a significant effect, however, it will be a vindication of all of those who have believed that man has within himself the potential for more than cruelty and selfishness. Bars. Bars. That alone made me love this book 10 times more. Oh, you know what? Here. Is Ro still in here? What does Ro think about this? If you know the future, you can't have free will. So this raises an obvious question. Does God have free will? An all-knowing being, if such a thing exists, can never reach out to the future because to that person the future is fixed. Religions such as Christianity put great emphasis on divine prophecy without realizing that this destroys the freedom of God that they believe in. An omniscient creator would know all of its own future decisions in advance. But if free will resides in not knowing the future, an omniscient being cannot have it. Such a being could never be in a state of uncertainty during which a true decision among possible options could be deliberated. It would have no latitude. If God knows that tomorrow he will cause it to rain, then when tomorrow comes, he is powerless to change his mind. If he changes his mind, then he was not all-knowing in the first place. Something has to give. I thought that was a bar. That sat with me for a second. Who's... Y'all are corny. Y'all are so corny for that. I hate all of you. That's so lame. Knock that off. That's so cringy. Okay, like 12 bucks just fell. This chair smells very appropriate. It smells super good. And I'm selling a perfume designed and extracted from its roots. No way. Oh, 2 Congress people just died in the last like 2 days. Alright. It's like 12:30 a.m. I'm gonna go night-night. Thank you all for the 331 comments. That was crazy. I think we had a max of 7 people on at once. Now, I don't know if it was like glitching because it just jumped from 0 to 3. It doesn't tally it perfectly. I'm pretty sure there's a total of 4 people, and then including me, 5. But after it's done, the stream automatically gets posted. Automatically. I have no say. I love you all. Thank you for helping me finish the first chapter of this book. I love you all. Kisses. Oh.